Hey everybody, I'm Grant with Grant's Game Rex. I hope you're having a great holiday season, and I hope even more that you're playing some good games. You gotta be playing games this time of year. It's one of the best times to do it. Every month I release a best games coming to retail video, and then a few months ago I started to do a best expansions coming to retail video due to popular requests and demands. So here we are with my best expansions coming to retail in December 2022. Asmodee and Funforge released Namiji to retail this month, and they also released an expansion for it at the same time. So it is called Namiji Aquamarine. So Namiji sort of re-implements Tokaido, but it gives it a different theme and adds some new benefit possibilities and things like that. You are playing as fishermen in ancient Japan, and the big sort of decision space of the game is you are moving forward on a track to get benefits. You can either move forward quickly and get the benefits that you really want, or you can move forward slowly. Some other people might go where you want to go, but you can take more turns along the way. So in Namiji Aquamarine, it is the first expansion for Namiji. It contains all of the item stretch goals from the original Kickstarter campaign, and it has a booklet containing expansions rules and the boat stories. It adds the whirlpool and it adds additional creatures to the game. So like any good expansion, it adds more content to the game. That's what expansions are for. That's why they exist. And this one is the same thing. That's why it's an expansion. Direwolf Digital released to retail in December Dune Imperium Immortality. So this is for their hit game Dune Imperium, which is, along with Lost Ruins of Arnak, sort of started the modern craze of combining worker placement and deck building. These were the first two games to do it a few years ago, and now we're seeing a lot more games with that. But, you know, Dune Imperium, great game, ranked very highly on BGG already, even though it's only been out a couple of years. Well, Immortality is the second expansion to Dune Imperium, and this one adds a new clan called the Tiliaxu. So if you're a fan of the books, these came from the later books and that sort of stuff. And it adds a scientific research track, so you can be going up this scientific research track and getting benefits along the way. It also adds some card drafting to the game. So if you are a fan of card drafting and you were like, man, Dune Imperium is perfect, but I wish there was some drafting in it, well, now you have it. Now you have the choice. So you can graft cards together to empower your agents. That is Dune Imperium Immortality. Pandasaurus is releasing a couple of expansions to retail this month. The first is The Loop oh boy, I didn't realize how hard this was going to be to say. The Loop Fur Brigade. Well, I really had to split that up there, huh? The Loop Fur Brigade. Can you say that 6 times fast? Fur Brigade. I don't know. That ends up sounding like Fabergé egg. Fur Brigade. Fur Brigade. God, boy. All right. So in the Loop Fur Brigade, it adds, the main thing it adds is 2 new characters for the game. So if you've ever played The Loop, it is a cooperative game where you are working together to travel to different time periods to fight the evil Dr. Foe. And so the 2 new characters are Catraman the Black and Arsene Lupus. So Catraman has forbidden magical knowledge, and it will let you play with 4 cards in hand instead of 3. And Arsene Lupus is the master of Charcoal 14, a new resource that allows agents to teleport directly to an era containing a piece of it in it. So, yeah, if you've been a fan of The Loop, this brings more diversity in gameplay and gives you a couple of new characters to play as. Pandasaurus Games is also releasing to retail Sobek 2 Players Treasures of the Pharaoh. Sobek 2 Players is a game that came out not that long ago, which you might imagine is for 2 players. It is a 2-player only game where there are some tiles on a board and tiles are moving around and you're getting benefits by going to different spots. Well, in the Treasures of the Pharaoh, it adds Pharaoh tiles to add onto the market board. And these are extraordinary items that stand out for their value, but also for their versatility as they can be used in sets of either of the 2 depicted gods. But also, they come with corruption. So, what are you going to do? Do you want they're a real boon and bust for you. They can help you, but they also come with risk. So the expansion also adds 2 new character tiles and a few other things, but it's mostly about those Pharaoh tiles, dog. Get them Pharaoh tiles. Renegade Game Studios is releasing a bunch of stuff to retail this month. Warp's Edge Anomoly is one of them. Warp's Edge is a game that came out a number of years ago, which was a solo-only game. It was a solo bag-building game of space combat. I love a space theme. I've talked about it before. It's one of my favorite themes, so I'm a real sucker for space games. And if you're looking for a solo space game, Warp's Edge is great. I love bag building too because there's just that excitement of reaching in the bag. What are you going to get? I hope it's something I need. And this expansion, Anomoly, adds new starfighters, motherships, and skills. And it also adds a new token type for the bag called anomalies. So these are, another thing that are risky for you. You can, if you can use anomalies to your advantage, they're going to be great, but they are also untrustworthy. So that is Warp's Edge Anomoly. Renegade Game also has been doing a bunch of deck building games this year, and they've already released a ton of different content for them. This month is, I feel like every month we have a new expansion for one of their deck building games, and this month 3 of their deck building games are getting expansions. Their Power Rangers deck building game is getting an expansion called Flying Higher. With any of these are, fairly strategic, complex deck building games where you are fighting as the heroes from this IP and fighting against bad guys from this IP. And so, in the Flying Higher expansion, you get to play as Andros and his team of Space Rangers. As they join the roster of heroes, you're going to play against new playable villains, new ways to play the game. So it's just adding more cards and content for the deck building game. Then their Transformers deck building game is getting a new expansion called Dawn of the Dinobots. And again, same thing. This is just adding new playable characters, new villains to fight against, that sort of stuff. So if you're a fan of the Transformers IP, or if you're already into the Transformers deck building game, here's more cards for you. G.I. Joe Mission Critical, which is another one of their deck building games, is getting an expansion called Heavy Firepower. So this one, Destro and Scrap Iron have arrived to help Cobra bring the world to its knees. Thankfully, Roadblock, Bomb Strike, and Gung Ho have arrived to reinforce the G.I. Joe team against this explosive threat. So adds those 3 new characters to play and new enemies to take down. The last of Renegade Game Studios' expansions this month is for a game that just hit retail. I included it in my best games coming to retail video that just came out several days ago. That game was Wreckland Run, which was a solo-only game with a post-apocalyptic theme, and it was played in campaigns. It was a campaign game that was revealed over story chapters. Well, now we have Wreckland Run Fallout. So fits into the same, post-apocalyptic world where you're fighting bad guys and leveling up your vehicle and that sort of stuff. But in this, the Fallout expansion adds it adds a campaign book that adds 3 chapters to the campaign. I believe the first game had 7 chapters, so a substantial addition to the campaign. It also adds 2 new vehicle mats, pilot cards, upgrade cards, part cards, enemy cards, bosses, and green toxic gems. So if you were interested in that solo game, well, now you can make that solo game even more robust for you and have a lot of content to play through. Rio Grande Games is releasing the 15th expansion to Dominion. Whoa! That's pretty exciting, right? So Dominion is the game that started deck building for a lot of other games and a lot of gamers out there. This was the first game that made deck building popular. So, we're talking about the Power Rangers deck building game and the Transformers deck building game. Those games don't exist without Dominion. And this new expansion, like I said, the 15th expansion, has 500 cards with 40 new kingdom cards, lots of treasures and durations, with cards that give you loot and traits that modify piles. So it adds a pirate sort of theme into the game. You are, trying to get plunder and that sort of stuff. Dominion, obviously, a lot of content. When you have 15 expansions, it's a huge, big world for you to explore. If you like deck building, even if you've never played Dominion, I feel like it's one where you're like, some games that came out 15 years ago or whatever, you've kind of moved past. But I feel like Dominion is worth playing even just for the historical context and the place that it fits into the board game hobby. And now we got a new expansion, Dominion Plunder. So whenever I do these best expansions coming to retail video, I like to fold in both new expansions and sort of new editions of board games, right? Because we have a lot of times where someone's grabbing a game from 15, 10, 20 years ago and changing the rules around, changing the components, changing the art, and making it feel like a new, fresh game. And so I try to add in a few new additions into this video as well. And so I've got a couple of those for you this month. Board Game Tables, which actually just changed its name to All Play. So if you hadn't heard that PSA announcement, Board Game Tables is changing their name to All Play. And they've got a few new editions of games hitting retail this month. They've been really good at sort of finding these really good older games that are underappreciated and underloved, and then updating them, or also finding some really good games from Asia and then bringing them over in new editions and stuff here. And so they're doing that same thing again this month with 3 games. Basketboss is one of them. This is a bidding auction game. And yes, it is about building a basketball team, but it's also just got fun mechanisms, so you can play this game even if you don't like basketball. I will say I think the game probably is enhanced if you like basketball, because one of the interesting things about the game is you have these players and they give you a certain amount of stars, but their stars change throughout seasons. Sometimes they get better, sometimes they get worse, sometimes they have an off season somewhere in the middle. And so once you get one of these basketball players, you're then sliding them up into the board throughout the game, and the value that they give you for the round changes, which is pretty cool. And this new version is the art is really great. They have a lot of fun puns on basketball names. They've got these cool trophies with it and stuff like that. So it is really updating the game Basketboss. The other game, there's 2 more games that All Play Board Game Tables is doing this with. Another one is Habitats. So this is a tile laying game where you drive your Jeep around and choose the best animals for your wildlife preserve. So equally important is building enough tourist destinations, campgrounds, and watchtowers to ensure everything runs smoothly. So if you love a good tile laying game with pretty artwork, Habitats looks like a good one. And also, you know, a smaller box game that you can... I like smaller box games because they're just... I travel a lot and they're easy to bring along with me. So that's something I look for. And then the last of the games that board game tables all play is breathing new life into is 9 Lives. This is a trick-taking card game, and, you know, there's been a lot of trick-taking card games recently, and they're each sort of figuring out a new angle in the genre. And so the thing that does this new is, one, you can see the colors on the backs of the cards. So like most trick-taking games, there are a few different suits, a few different colors of cards, and you can tell what people have color-wise. You cannot see the value that they have, but it'll give you a little bit of information, and then you have to bid on the number of tricks you think you can win. But each number can only be bid 2 times. So if you were planning to bid that you're going to win 4 tricks, and the 2 players in front of you both said 4, well, now you got to rethink your strategy. Now you got to figure out, okay, do I want to bid more? Do I want to bid less? That sort of stuff. So that's what it's adding new to the genre of trick-taking. Funko Games is releasing a new edition of their game Something Wild. So Something Wild is a fast-paced, light card game that you can play with your family that anybody can get into. You know, you're playing character cards and sets and runs to score points. Well, this one is the Star Wars Darth Vader Pink Edition. So this adds a big collectible pink Darth Vader pop figure. So if you like collectible figurines, then this is going to be, you know, definitely a somewhat rare pink Darth Vader collectible thing that you can get. And then it also includes, you know, that's the only big, you know, figurine it has, but it has cards of all your favorite characters from the Star Wars original trilogy. And then last I have the Op is releasing Monopoly Britney Spears. So if you were like, ugh, Britney's been trapped in this conservatorship for too long, we got to get her out and give her a Monopoly game. Well, we just did that, dude. We just got her out and we got her a Monopoly game. There are a ton of versions of Monopoly, a bunch of themed versions of the game. And I will say, I don't care about a lot of them, but Britney Spears, dude, that's fun that she got a Monopoly version. I'm just excited about that. I think it's cool. You know, welcome back to the world, Britney. You made me very happy as a teenager. So that's what I got. Those are the best new expansions and new editions of board games coming to retail in the month of December 2022. If you are interested in hearing about more games coming to retail, or if you're interested in seeing what's coming up in the future, I keep a big spreadsheet of all of this stuff as I do my research, and I talk to like over 400 publishers for this. Access to the spreadsheet is one of the benefits on my Patreon, so you're welcome to go there if you want to see, you know, what's coming up in 2023. We got a lot of games that I already know about that are coming out in 2023. It's a year to be excited about, but you know, kind of what year isn't a year to be excited about in the board game world right now, because the hobby is just growing and doing such great things, and I'm happy to be part of it. I hope you had a wonderful holiday season, and I'll see you soon. I'm Grant with Grant's Game Rex.